Hey, friends, it's Shannon, and this is the Unwind Your Life podcast. While it's fresh in my mind, I wanted to just recap the retreat we had a couple weeks ago out at the ranch house near Tipton and just tell you some of my favorite things, some of the feedback that I received from the guests at the retreat, simply because it just makes me happy. And I just want to share this happiness with you and just a few little tidbits as to like why I love doing this so much. So first of all, what I feel like the retreat does for me is like it's my own form of self-care because doing something that sets your soul on fire is a form of loving yourself. And so kind of like leading up to the retreat and creating this space for people to come together, like it just makes my soul so happy. And if you've ever had that feeling before, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, like it's out there. Um, but I always, going into retreat weekend, I always give myself space to get centered and do what I love and just kind of have a day of what does Shannon want to do today before, inviting people into the space. Because really, as far as women go, like that's what it's all about. Like that's really truly my reasoning for creating the retreats, and in my coaching. Like I just am honored and have the ability and the capability, I guess, to create space for women to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel loved, to feel safe enough to fully express like who they are, where they're at in the moment, in a place that like you are not being judged. And I invite people to also come to this space without judgment of self, of their self, of wherever they are in life. And what I have heard time and time again is that in these retreats and in my coaching, that's what people treasure the most is feeling heard and seen and loved and safe to just be where they are. And so I gift that to myself going into retreat weekend. And so, what that looked like this past time is I treated myself to, I coached a client and then was coached, I believe. And then I went out for a trail ride on the 9 Mile Trail. I'd never been on the 9 Mile Trail before. There's 13, I think, miles of trails around where I host the retreat. And I'd never ridden the full path. It took me like over an hour, but it's just so glorious because when you're on a trail on a bike, you got to pay attention to like what's in front of you. Because if you don't, you're probably gonna hit a tree. So I go out for a trail ride. It's fantastic. And like, I tell you what, I got some powerful insights on that trail ride. So I'm just going to share those with you. There's three of them. Number one, bug spray, always a good idea. If I stopped on my bike, which I did a couple of times, I kind of got eaten alive. Number two, if you don't fall on your ass, are you really even trying? This was probably the first time I had a pretty good wipeout on the trails or on my bike in general. Totally fell on my ass. Like I was going up a hill and I didn't make it. And I was just like, ugh, bonk. And like it hit me that thought of, well, Shannon, if you're not falling on your ass, are you really even trying? And that doesn't just, I mean, obviously that's a lesson that does not just stop at riding your bike, right? Like that is a lesson for life. Like if you're not falling on your ass, are you even trying? Like get out there. So the next part was ride and trust, even when you're not sure you're on the right path. So I got to this place where I'm like, I don't know which way is north, south, east, west. I don't know what dirt road that is. Like, have I seen this place before? But like, I kind of knew that those trails don't intersect a whole lot. So I'm just like, okay, Shannon, like, just keep going, just keep going. Like, ride and trust, even when you're not sure you're on the right path. And I think we all come to this in a season of our life where we don't know if we're on the right path, and we have that self-doubt that comes up all the time. But what is it going to take to just move forward and trust and have faith? And so those were all just really good reminders for me, going into the weekend and moving forward with the work that I'm doing. So getting to when the guests have arrived and what I loved most about the retreat, I just want to say this. Like, I found myself in moments of awe, just observing the women having conversations. And I truly believe in my heart that what is meant to be will be. Who is supposed to be there is supposed to be there. The connections that are meant to happen will happen. And this was a very small group of people. I loved it. It was really close to my heart. And being able to just kind of be in the conversations, but also observe the conversations that the women were having, where you were just talking about like managing your health and your hormones and your family and your job, like all of these things that like women have on their table. And being able to talk about them and not even have to explain yourself because the other women just know. Like, you don't have to explain that because they get it. Like, you get it. So to be in a space where you can just openly express where you are without having to explain yourself, really, because other people just get it. Like, you are seen, you are heard, and that is huge. Like, it's magical. And it's so great. And so like those are the moments that I found myself really in, those moments of awe, was just the conversations and the connections that were happening and just the vibe that it created. These women were so amazing and just had a lot of fun, and it was so great. It was just so great. So that was just truly what I loved most about it. And thinking back on the last two retreats prior to this one, that's probably also what I loved most about it. But also when I reached out asking like, hey, what did you love most? What would you change? That was one of the things that the women said that they loved most too, was just like enjoying the open-hearted conversations and just having a non-judgmental safe space to just be. That's what I hear just time and time again, is just having that space. So that was my favorite thing. And the last part I want to share with you is just like what I had the most fun with in like prepping. Like, food kind of stresses me out a little bit, like preparing a menu. I'm not sure why, but I had a lot of fun creating it. Like, I always do these amazing sweet potato bowls, which everybody's just like eating at dinner on Friday night after breath work. Like it's so good. It's so good. So I think that is always going to be a constant. But what I enjoy having is just like simple, healthy, nutritious food where women can serve themselves throughout the time at the retreat. So everybody kind of brings a snack of their choice or whatever, but then also I've got like food available so that we can like nourish our bodies like throughout the retreat. That makes me really happy, and I have a lot of fun with that. And then this time specifically, rather than just doing like a canvas and acrylic painting, I collected a whole bunch of like random shit and like made a whole art table where it's like anything on this table is fair game. Like, just create. And I do this on purpose because as you come out of breath work on that Friday night where you're just like breathing, like sometimes it just continues to get you out of your head and into your heart to just like throw something together no matter what it is. And I think the beautiful thing about creating art in general, or just doing something with your hands or creating something out of nothing, is that you can't go wrong. You can't mess up art. And I think that's the whole thing about life too, is you can't mess up life. Like, if you mess it up, you just create a blank space and start over again. And to create something out of nothing and to understand that there is no right or wrong way to go about it, and just to like do it and be it, like I feel like is a lesson that we all continuously need to remind ourselves of. So I hope you enjoyed that. This is all I have for you today. And I still have yet to share my very first breathwork experience and why I incorporate that piece into the retreats. I haven't shared it yet because it is really, really close to my heart. Really close to my heart. But I vow to get it out there for you and share it with you. So happy day, friends. Love you.